say, it's not even loud for me, but we'll turn this one up a bit because I'm pretty sure. Oh, I rubbed it off my table. Ah, nice. Let's just go, I think it was like here-ish. There, that would do. Oh, Italy. We're going to Italy. That's where we're going. Fucking Italy. I'll tell you before I sleep. Thanks, boo. I thought you were going to start telling me about woes, but I think you mean sound. Yeah. We're going to Italy. Now I remember. That's fine. Oh, I need to jot down all the different sounds and stuff every time I play these games, because I don't understand why I don't. I sit there and go, oh, I'll be alright. Oh, I'll be fine. Oh, it's so good. And then I try and remember, and I don't have it written down. I clean the table. Even though then I'm pretty sure it wasn't fully on the table anyway. Anyway, we're going to Italy. That's where we're off to. I totally remember. I'm totally off words. I can tell you my woes, but then I definitely won't sleep. I meant Owen's woes. I don't want your woes. I see you every day. I know your woes. I know your woes. Alright, after what felt like forever waiting in an airport for my flight to be cleared, I was finally on my way to Italy. Being in a plane normally felt like a new start, but this was different. It should have been bright outside, but the night just went on and on. I wasn't the only person who closed their window shutters just to keep out the sight of more darkness. Rude, you'll live. I was pathetically grateful to have Sharon with me, chatting blithely about everything and nothing. As far as she was concerned, everything would just be fine. Every other passenger was doing the same thing as me and trying their best to act normal. The constant darkness was so disorientating that the flight attendants took a vote to decide whether the cabin should be lit for day or night. Everything felt wrong, and it didn't help to be crossing time zones. As we flew over the Mediterranean Sea, we struck turbulence. Far too many people gasped, and I heard someone stifling sobs. It's a fucking bit of turbulence. The seatbelt sign switched on, and I doubted there was a single person on board not obeying it at once. It shouldn't have been a major issue, but the turbulence just went on and on. I pretended I hadn't noticed that the sobbing had come from a kid of 18 or so just across the aisle. He got a hold of himself and blew his nose, gripping his armrest with both hands. Poor kid. No, fuck the kid. It's just turbulence. Unless you're going down, you're fine. Hi, I said cheerfully and introduced myself. Are you going to Rome for a holiday, or did you just really want some pizza? Who the fuck says that to a kid? Even 18. Like, who the fuck just... Did you really want some pizza? Fuck off. He stared at me as if I was insane, then laughed weakly. We followed a typical small talk script from then on, talking about what I'd done on my gap year and what he planned to do. We happened to pause whenever the plane dipped or shook too vigorously, but neither of us mentioned it out loud. I'm Flip. What a fucking shit name, he said. Is that some slang term, I asked? Nickname. He said, I'm an okay gymnast, except I'm too old to go pro. Huh. Teacher, this plane is going the wrong way. How the fuck is a plane going the wrong way? What do you mean, Moti? I asked, turning my wrist so Flip could see who I was talking to. If the plane was functioning correctly, we would have avoided this weather system. If I say it's just turbulence, he's going to be like, no, it's not. It's this, this, and this. I'm going to go with... Oh, sorry, is a flight attendant really going to talk to a watch? Yeah, probably. Flip moaned in terror. For a moment I thought he was going to be sick. I pushed the button for a flight attendant. Yes, sound seems good. Wonderful, thank you. Mwah. Wait, what was it? 34. I know I just cleaned my desk, but... We're going to fight this in books. I pressed the button for a flight attendant, and when a harassed-looking man came to see what was wrong, I told him Moti's concern. It's weather, he said heavily. Sometimes when you fly in the sky, there are clouds. Sometimes clouds have weather in them. Perhaps your watch could teach you the meaning of no, instead of bothering other passengers. I'm not a watch. You are rude. Oof. He turned back, asking Flip if he'd like a glass of water. Moti, I hissed urgently, please be quiet. Oh, he looks evil. Shall I run mathematical simulation of the events that led us here? Sure, I muttered, whatever. The flight attendant was called elsewhere and Flip didn't look any better. No, gently, don't be a dick. It's gonna be fine, Flip, I told him. You've survived exams, you can survive this. Survival was precisely what worries me, he said. My exams didn't take place in a tin can defying gravity and getting an Icarus-style smackdown for it as we speak. Icarus, I said. I bet you did great on those exams. Sharon punched me in the arm. I just realised why you're not a psychologist. Gee, thanks, Shazza. I hate it. Shot back at her good-naturedly. Flip burst out laughing. Don't worry, he said. It's a bad time now, certainly. But I know it's going to be fine. Really? I mean, I'm sure you're right. He nodded, visibly calming. It's all about human arrogance and knowledge and things like that. We need to stop it. I had a bad feeling I knew where this was going. There's this man, he said, almost sighing with delight. He's willing to make the hard choices and save the world. Go on, I said, almost choking on the words. I squeezed Sharon's hand, willing her to stay quiet. She squeezed back and I knew she understood. We love Shazza. Oh, fucking Shazza. Victor Santiago is his name. Oh, here we go, said Flip, leaning across the aisle earnestly. You seem tough. You should join him. I bet you have what it takes. I felt tears welling in my eyes. To do what exactly? To sacrifice some to save the rest. Oh, Flip, you're insane. My stomach turned over, but I schooled my expression into polite interest. Where did you hear about all of this? Oh, everywhere, he said cheerfully. It was hard to accept it at first, but now it makes sense. I can't believe you haven't heard about it already. Nah, it's not like he pointed a gun at my head. He gave me the thoughtful looking over of a teenager trying to figure out if I was too old to know anything at all. Actually, I've known all about Santiago for some time. Really? He said, glowing with enthusiasm. Flip be crazy. Flip be fucking idiot. Please tell me you're not dumb enough to follow that psychopath. He should be in jail. He should be in jail. Just straight up. Just straight up. Flip's face shut like a slammed door. I'm sorry to offend you, but Santiago's bad. Bad news. I know that better than most. You're an enemy, he said, shrinking back in his seat as I was diseased. Don't stay in Rome where you'll be one of the first to go. My blood turned to ice. What do you mean? Teacher, I finished designing and running the flight simulation program. Fucking great, thanks, Modi. Not now, Modi, you fucking bitch. Whatever. Oh, he's pissed. Oh, he's pissed. Flip, I said urgently. What do you know about Santiago's plans? Our plane is going to crash. Sorry, what? It's been 12 minutes. Fucking 12 minutes. What? Said Flip to Modi, turning green. He wasn't the only one who heard Moti. Our plane is going to crash. Moti, turn your speaker off. You fucking bitch. Yeah, it was too late. The plane erupted in screams and desperate phone calls. Moti, I said sharply, what do you mean? How can you be certain? I gathered astronomical, close enough, photographic and physiological data. Fuck, it's trying to think. Liara, yes, Liara, go to bed. Knew we should have gone to Egypt. Oh, I knew we should have been gay. The chance of crash is 74%. Psychological, I said, knowing I was clutching at straws. Okay, yeah, the sounds don't work. You can't ever go at me for that. I don't know why they don't work. I'm sorry. Ooh, actually, give me a second. I can probably get it to work. Probably where there we go. Where Twitch did their nice little update thing, they screwed us all. Okay, I'm logged back in. So I will refresh. I've been scammed. You have to say it now. Someone's got to talk to Beth. Hi. I know I do appreciate it, but I also know you have to go to bed. Where do I get that bloody link from when it's dashboard? Aha. Right, let me just re-add this and then I will hopefully, because we had to log out, Should be able to test it. Give me a sec. Oh, I don't trust actually playing what they give me as a test alert because, Oh. Oh, don't tell me I've got to add all my shit again. What? Okay, I think you're just gonna have to... We're not gonna have... Oh, no, now it says enabled. It keeps telling me there's an error. Okay. Can I go to my channel point sounds now? Let me get Libby's up and see if it will let me do a test.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine.
There you go.
When you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Oh, God, that was right in my ear. Oh, fuck. Oof. 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 Okay, sound alerts work. Sound alerts work. Yeah, I just needed a new,
Wow. Wow. Wow.
There you go.
Wow. 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 Wow.
So loud. There you go. Sound alerts work. It just needed a new fucking everything. Onwards.
That's what she
Likelihood
said.
of pilots. Now it's all it's gonna be, isn't it? Turning it down. Likelihood of the pilots to compensate correctly for the lack of accurate data for their instruments. I jabbed at the button for the flight attendant and shoved up the shutter on my window.
Rough and irritating.
Rough and
And
irritating.
it gets everywhere.
Gets everywhere. Oh, Anakin. Yes, now I can sleep. Yes, you can go sleep. You can go sleeps.
I have brought peace,
Building.
freedom, justice,
Freedom,
and security to my
and
new
security
empire.
to my new I'm going to
Your
Rome.
new empire?
Fire.
Don't make me kill you.
Make me kill you. I need to not do it. I need to
My
continue with the
allegiance
damn
is to
game.
The Republic, to democracy.
To democracy.
If you're not with
Still
me,
the best scene in Star Wars. I do not care.
then you're my enemy.
Or my enemy.
Only a Sith deals in
Yes,
absolutes.
it deals in absolutes, which is an absolute, so...
I will do what I must.
You will try.
We'll try. I'll leave you on lurk while I sleep. Oh, thanks, Boo. You don't need to if you're dying. Night, Laura. The likelihood of crash is now 87%. What? 94%. We're approaching the ground too quickly. Speakers on, I said, full volume, brace positions. Moti spoke in loud Italian and French and other languages I didn't know. I flicked the flight attendant button, hoping the attendant was strapping himself in. Everybody braced positions. I folded my arms on the back of my seat in front and tucked in my head, my ears popping with the fast descent. Moti, if I die, tell Dolores and Etienne and Shazza to keep themselves safe. Shazza's next to you. She's probably going to die with you. Sharon's not beside me. I ain't making any promises. I love you, TJ. Oh, Moti. Honey. Flip screamed and I don't even say it back. What a bitch. I love you, Moti. I'll say it back. Rome grew larger, a glimmering monster, lowering us to our death. The plane smashed into the ground, reverberating through my feet and knees and back. Flip's scream cut off. Metal screeched on the runway and the plane was knocked sideways, still going far too fast. I blacked out for a moment and woke, coughing on thick black smoke. We weren't moving anymore. Nothing and no one was moving. I need to... Sharon. Moti, you're a watch. As far as I could tell from a cursory glance, nothing was broken. Ugh, said Sharon. No offense, but that flight stunk like a cane toad after a round of golf. I tried to speak, but my tongue felt 3 sizes too large and all I did was moan. I wasn't the only one. The plane became the concert hall to a symphony of pain. Help me, someone whispered. No, said a man's voice. No, 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 no. Oh, my leg is stuck. Someone help me. My leg is stuck. Teacher, you have no major injuries. You're doing alright, love. Flip, I said. I cannot take any measurements from here, but Mr. Flip appears largely unharmed. Whoa, Flip said. Should have taken a video of that. It was so badass. It was a fucking crash. Are you alright? I asked him, struggling to unclip my seatbelt with shaking hands. Fine, he said. I've had worse falls from the parallel bars. He undid his seatbelt but didn't stand. He was looking past me out the window. Just stay on one side of my face. I turned and saw flames out far aside, and far too much debris and fire for just one plane to crash. Oh no, I said. As I watched, a third plane came into land, flying so crooked that its wing hit the ground first. It scraped along the ground, shimmying like a beginner belly dancer before it flipped over on its roof, still sliding along the tarmac and sending up clouds of black smoke. It was only a couple of miles away, but it was far enough that the whole crash was silent, like a movie with broken sound. Those planes have flown a shorter distance than ours. It is likely they contain more fuel. Oh, I said, realizing Moti was warning me of the possibility of larger fires and explosions. Hijack a vehicle to get to the upside down. No, we need to just get out the plane. Fucking. Fuck everybody else. Let's get out. Flip, are you sure you're alright? I asked. Sick, he said with a grin. Does that mean good? I asked. Sure, he said, getting up. We're on the ground now, aren't we? Of course, I'll be hitchhiking home rather than ever taking a plane again. Teacher, emergency services will have greater access to the wounded if we evacuate the vehicle. I will notify you if I see any passengers who should not be moved at this time. Thank you, Moti. I'm in, said Sharon. Obviously. Thanks, Shazza. Stop saying Shazza, I have to say it. What should I do? Flip asked. Die? Fuck it, get medical help. Okay, and Flip took off. Now the spring chicken's gone, what are we gonna do? Sharon asked. Shazza, it's like, I don't mind the nickname, I understand why, but Shazza, just, it sounds so, like, cockish. But also then I hear, like, Shazza or Sharon, and I just think of Sharon Osbourne. So, there's no good way of thinking about it. Get people out of the plane, I said, unless they shouldn't be moved. Sure thing, she said, and went to the front of the plane. I headed to the back of the plane, scanning the wounded as I went. Most people were on their devices trying desperately to let their loved ones know they were alright. Everyone was conscious, although most were still too shaken to decide what to do. I saw a kindergarten-aged kid holding his breath, looking ready to emit a high-volume blast of terrified screaming. Moti, I said, allow kids' music, please. Yes, teacher. Polly put the oh god, oh my god. That's better kid songs. The kid stared at me in confusion, forgetting his plans to imitate a banshee. The mother shot me a grateful look and sang along with Moti between her coughs. After a few nervous giggles, I heard more voices joining in. Moti led the cabin in several nursery rhymes, wiggle songs. Now, wiggle songs are a bop, and I will fight anyone that says otherwise. Having to grow up watching every fucking movie, listening to all the songs, and listening to Kylie Minogue join them. Wiggle songs are a bop. Take no slander. In Sesame Street classics, as people gathered their hand luggage and left the plane, lining up in the aisles as if it was an ordinary flight. There was differences, of course. Most people were bruised and bleeding. Several were singing, and a small number remained in the seats, too shaken or too wounded to move. Several carried flashlights, casting tiny pools of light to hold back the immense darkness outside. The little boy clutched a seahorse toy that glowed when he squeezed it. My eyes stung from the smoke, and I couldn't stop coughing. Most of the passengers able to walk were already off the plane. Raise your hand if you're asthmatic or ever had pneumonia, I called out, realizing the smoke was the greatest danger. Several hands lifted, and I climbed over the seats to get to the closest. Hello, sir. How may I be of service? He hacked a laugh, although his eyes were streaming. My leg's stuck, he said. I was like, does it hurt? I was shot there in New Guinea. It hurts less than that. Do you think it's broken or has a bad bleed? I asked. He shook his head, coughing too hard to speak. I took several tries to get the man free, but working together we managed it in the end. He limped down the aisle and slid down the escape slide without a second thought. One down. I glanced out the window and saw emergency staff waiting below. They were probably not permitted to enter a burning plane. Only a moron would spend time in a burning plane when they didn't have to. I giggled at the thought, then rubbed my forehead. The smoke was giving me a headache. A fat mood. Teacher, you are suffering from smoke inhalation. No shit, honey. No, I'll leave when this plane's empty. Fuck you, Modi. If I die, we all die. I struggled through the smoke and realised I'd forgotten what I was doing. That was officially bad. Trying to breathe was a real hassle that reminded me I had to get outside. What, I'm leaving anyway? I swiped at the air, trying to push the smoke away. It stunk of melting plastic and burnt hair. Maybe the hair was me. Moti, teacher, get out now. I can't remember how. Moti turned his speaker to maximum volume and started yelling in Italian. I wondered if Moti was swearing at me. It didn't seem nice. With a thought, I passed out. I woke up in a hospital bed, clean and safe, but unable to remember what country I was in. It seemed Moti had summoned help. Call Sharon. We gotta know where she is. Okay. Sharon didn't pick up the call. Worried, I tried calling her again. At the moment, Sharon threw aside the hospital curtain around my bed. Miss me. Shazza, I said, feeling more confused than ever. Poor possum, she said. You look terrible. Hey, Petrus, come on in. A dark-skinned man waltzed in, looked as pleased to see me as Sharon herself. I'm so sorry, I said. Who are you? Petrus, I'm going with that's how I said. He announced. I shook my hand visually. That super famous Indonesian science guy. He's going to help us find your missing astronaut. Oh, good. Yes, he replied happily. Now that we three are back together, we can solve this mystery and bring back the sun. Don't you agree? I feel like I'm on drugs. I think I need to pass out some more. Poor possum's exhausted. Let's go eat some gelato. Oh, what the fuck? Ooh, lead on. What the fuck? Am I on drugs? They waved at me, linked arms, and waltzed away. I looked at the ceiling, wondering if I had dreamed the entire encounter. A nurse came in backwards, dragging a tray of medical tools. Hello there, she said in a gorgeous Italian. I'm not doing an Italian accent. I'll just run some tests, if that's all right with you. Of course, I said, pushing myself into a sitting position. Thank you, grazie. I don't know Italian, and I don't have any of my usual Italians. She laughed delightedly. Prego, whatever. She replied and slipped a blood pressure cuff onto my arm. I smiled up at her, right into her golden eyes. Oh, you R.I.P. Confront her about the murder. Nah, do you know what? Compliment her eyes and let's see what she says. What lovely golden eyes you have, I said, feeling like the big bad wolf gone wrong. Wronger. Thank you, she said. They're contact lenses, of course. I couldn't afford the surgery, I'd have done that. Oh. I said, have you joined the 100-day group? The what? She asked. I felt relieved for one glorious moment. Is it something to do with Victor Santiago? She said, because if so, then it's all part of a difficult but necessary cleansing process. Cleansing, I said stupidly. She nodded. So the sun comes back. Of course, I said brightly. Cleansing. Must have hit my head or something. Very important thing. Cleansing. She said, taking a second look at my chart. I'm feeling tip-top now. Can I check out? Sorry, Dopey. I better rest some more. I feel like if you try and leave, she's going to kill you. But if you stay, she's going to try and kill you. But I like the bottom option. She arranged my pillows without meeting my eye. I suddenly felt incredibly vulnerable. If you like, she said, with a studied casualness, I could get a pair of golden contacts for you too. They're buying them in bulk at the chemist now. Oh. Hoping my acting was better than hers. That would be great, thank you. She sniffed and continued her rounds. Teacher, why did you lie to that nurse? It is important to speak honestly to medical professionals. Not this time, Moti. I said, wondering what had happened to my underwear. You're in a fucking hospital. Stood carefully and started looking around the room for my things. Why? My hand closed on the strap of my bag and I drew it out of the cover with a sigh of relief. Nothing was missing. Moti, I'm concerned that Santiago's influence is growing fast and that his violence is about to get a lot worse. Right now, anyone allied with him is likely to be extremely dangerous. How will you receive adequate medical treatment? Exactly. Excellent question, Moti. I drew back the curtains by habit before remembering that there was nothing but darkness outside. I shut them again and drew the privacy curtain around my bed for good measure. The hospital wasn't safe anymore. Nowhere was. Sneak out of the hospital or call Sharon Petrus for help getting out. Call Sharon. Moti, I said in a low voice, please let Shazza know I might need help getting out of here safely. Yes, teacher. I got back into bed and spent some time tracking Santiago's exploding popularity. We really needed the sun back. It was immediately clear that Santiago was expending the field of people he considered worthy to die. He used to be the most brilliant and innovative minds on Earth. Now, as far as I could tell, it was anyone he didn't like. Teacher, I do not want you to meet Mr. Victor again. If he sees you, he will kill you. I think you're right, just straight up. As I obediently followed orders, I saw a message flash silently onto my screen telling me that Sharon had been informed of my predicament. I just hoped she and Petrus was alright, wherever they were. There was little I could do except wait for my rescuers, so I did so gracefully, reading a newspaper article about the collapse of several governments in the previous 48 hours, and another informing me that Brad and Angelina have secretly gotten a quick divorce. Oh, jeez. The world was falling apart. Oh my god. I heard a wet thumping noise from my window, and when I got up to look, I saw birds hurling themselves at the building, windows, bricks, concretes, and all. Not just one idiot bird, not even a group. Dozens of different birds watching the rest smash into the glass and fall, and then doing the exact same thing. I backed away from the windows and drew the curtains before the windows smashed. The birds didn't stop. It was as if the birds were trying to take down the building by sheer determination. I shivered. Then I heard the unshakable, obviously cheerful tones of Sharon as she told a nurse she was determined to see her favourite cousin. Me. She and Petrus swept inside arm in arm, grinning with delight at their deception. Sharon perched on the edge of the bed. You really are helpless without me. So true, I said. She flashed me one of her happy-go-lucky smiles, and my mouth fell open. Oh, not Shazza. Not Shazza. No, tell me this is just fake. Not Shazza. Oh. Her eyes were yellow. Oh, thank fuck it's a disguise. Oh, thank she's. Oh. Oh. $200 for these. Reckon your company will reimburse me for the cunning disguise? Absolutely, I said. Oh, thank fuck. She produced a set of scrubs. I was going to wear these as well, but I think they'll do better on you. You want them? Do you know what? Let GoldenEye Sharon. Oh, jeez, I thought she was. Oh, I thought she was gone. Thought she was a goner. Sharon enjoyed playing a cult member a little too much. Okay, way too much. We seemed to be surrounded by GoldenEye Italians, and it was Sharon's dearest wish to give each one a nod or a slap on the back or a painfully unironic fist bump. At last we were out of the hospital, and I breathed a sigh of release, only to see Sharon continue her bizarre performance until we booked into a Plaza hotel and the Do Not Design sign was up on the door. Petrus exploded into laughter. You're half crazy, he said to her. Why didn't we meet earlier? I waited until Moti had thoroughly scanned the room for bugs before I spoke. Things are bad, I said. In Italy more than most places. Sharon gave a shrug. At least it's not cold here. Canada's an icy pole. New Zealand's sheep have all died of exposure. There are baby penguins freezing to death in Antarctica. And birds here just trying their best to knock down entire buildings. I said, making a mental note to check on Etienne. But you know Santiago's building a stronghold here. Sharon shrugged again. He's not so tough. Shazza, I swallowed hard, reminding myself that Sharon was the type to pack extra sunblock after days of unmitigated darkness. As if reading my mind, she gave me a marginal, less sunny grin. That kid in Egypt, Yumi, I saw him on YouTube or something, saying not to lose light. Bit late for that, I muttered. He meant metaphorically, she said. Probably. At least that's what his handler said. He has a handler? I asked, feeling a stab of pity for the kid. Sharon nodded vigorously. Better than a pitchfork mob, don't you think? I made a non-committal noise. If the sun comes back again, I'll happily join his optimism cult. In the meantime, I think we should find the astronaut, or more specifically, the cover-up surrounding him. Petrus brightened visibly. I did a few journalism classes once. Shall we just interview his family and see what happens? Fuck. Walking in and being like, hi, what's going on? No, check stuff. I don't know enough. We brought every single tabloid magazine a vendor had to offer and staggered back to the hotel with them to study together. Oh no. Sharon said, did you know Brad and Angelina got divorced? I'm pretty sure. When was this made? This was made last year. Pretty sure Brad. They're not still together, right? I swear they got divorced. Actually, I said, yes. I'm never getting a pool boy. Said Sharon, never, never, never. I chose not to engage in either conversation or reading, sorting rapidly through my own path for a hint of the astronaut. Luca. It was a long night, but a weirdly productive one. While Sharon and Petrus did 4 different quizzes to decide on their Game of Thrones characters, I found article on Victor. He was bigger than Brangelina. Lucas's family also appeared time to time again, proving proud family snaps of a childhood and suspiciously perfect sound bites. Whatever was going on, I felt sure they knew the truth. Meanwhile, Moti had discovered the joys of YouTube, and had about as much taste as a 14-year-old who is yet to discover the internet for porn. Teacher, I have a new set of videos for you to watch. Is it more cats dancing? I asked, because I really... Did you disapprove of my previous collection? No, I said. It was very amusing, but I don't think I appreciate the innate variety like you do. Whatever. Alright, Moti, fuck you. Please, Moti, just show me. I'm sure you chose this afternoon's clips very carefully. Just once, but it's highly compelling evidence. It seems one of the presidential candidates left the race due to his fear of drawing Santiago's attention. Really? I said, and the video shows proof. You do not believe me. I automatically put my hand in surrender, forgetting Moti was on my wrist. It's not that I don't believe you, Moti, it's just the internet. The internet is highly reliable, teacher. It's an excellent source of learning information, I said carefully. Whatever, you are just a little bitch boy today. I sighed, wishing Moti didn't have the backup RAM to know if I simply switched it off. We need to know where Luca is, so let's focus on him. There are a few grainy pictures of Luca's work as an aquanaut, and several perfectly clear pictures of his life before and during the time he spent on the International Space Station. There wasn't a single clear picture of him as an aquanaut, not diving, not showing off his uniform, not posing with workmates. Nothing. It was as if he vanished off the face of the earth, and I had a terrifying notion that's exactly what had happened. I dug deeper and found a bleak mention that he was helping a cleanup crew beautify Rome's docks. I googled the company and Moti sorted their schedule until we found what we needed. A time and a place where Luca should appear, at least according to the internet. I explained everything to Petrus as Sharon snored softly into the arm of a chair. Are you going? He asked. Sharon awoke and looked at us silently. Of course. Fuck it, let's go. I'm going, said Sharon. Obviously. Would you like to take the lead, or shall I fight Sharon for it? I rolled my eyes at both of them. I don't expect anything less, Shazza. And Petrus, since when were you an action hero? He sobered up for a moment, since scientists started getting killed. Plus, action heroes get the best scars, said Sharon. Petrus winced and unconsciously turned away from her. So which of us takes the lead tomorrow? Fuck. Him and it... Oh, good, bad. Wait, he's the one who's looking. I'll do it. I wish you never got any. You. Go on. Let's trust another man. We ordered room service and had an incredibly awkward conversation with the beautiful, golden-eyed woman who brought us our ravioli. By the time we convinced her that we were generally thrilled at the idea of Santiago coming to Rome, our dinner was cold. Your smile could make someone's day. Don't forget to wear it. Fuck off, Nightbot. I ate in silence, lost in the thoughts of whether Santiago or the missing sun would cause me more harm. It all depended on how long the sun was out. Would it come back at all? I hope that Yumi kid was right and we weren't completely doomed yet. I wish they had Durian? Yeah, sure, said Petrus with a sigh. What on earth are you talking about? I said, realising the others had been talking. Gelato, of course. Glad you were paying attention, you wallaby. I felt suddenly misty-eyed. Santiago wasn't the only person with an overwhelming personality. Sharon was bonkers, but in a good way. She'd never give up or get discouraged, and I needed that. So, she said with a mischievous glint in her eye, now we've got tomorrow sorted, what will we do tonight? No, do you know what do you have in mind? What we need, Sharon said, with that all too familiar glint in her eyes, are spies. I said cautiously. People to tell us what Santiago's doing, she said. Don't we have the internet for that? I said. Maybe if you only want to hear about the mayhem when it's over, don't you think it'd be handy to know in advance? I sighed. That sounds like good sense, but I know you just want to be involved in the mayhem. She grinned. All right, but how would you recruit people quickly when we don't even speak Italian? Speak for yourself, said Sharon. It can't be that hard, said Petrus with a shrug. It took me a moment to realise he wasn't joking. How many languages do you speak? I asked him. 5.5, maybe 7, if you count related dialects. He tapped on his phone before demonstrating his linguist skills by swearing in several languages. What's wrong? I asked. It's the internet. It's much slower than it would be, and unfortunately I think I know what's wrong. It's the satellites, I said. Even more are gone now. There's more, said Petrus. The water levels are failing because of the cold creating ice at the poles, thus exposing the underwater communication cables, and with all the animals going crazy, they're probably damaging a lot of cables. Are we going to lose the internet? Sharon asked, looking genuinely horrified. Not completely, but it'll only get worse, and phone lines, of course. Sharon grabbed her phone at once and called Chrissy. I will teach you some Italian, teacher. Thank you, Moti, I said, trying my best to sound enthusiastic. How will we cope with a reduced internet? My primary functions will not be hampered. I am very clever. That's reassuring, I said. Oh no. Etienne, what if we lose contact completely? I shall attempt to contact Mr. Etienne at once. I have successfully contacted Mr. Etienne. Mr. Etienne, I said. Are you alright? I'm fine, but why are you calling me at this hour? And since when was I Mr. Etienne? I laughed in relief. I was just worried we'd lose contact because the internet slowed down. Moti always calls you Mr. Etienne, and I guess it just stuck. Please don't give me a nickname you picked up from your watch. Oh, these guys are gay. I am not a watch. You are a watch. I'm sorry, Moti, said Etienne. Does this mean I can give you a nickname? Sure. Oh, fuck. I really get to choose. I said, suddenly drunk with power. Sure, Etienne said, within reason. Alright. You maintain veto power. Go on then, he said, laughing and making me nervous. If I was in Indonesia, said Petrus, speaking up after a huddled conversation with Sharon, we'd abbreviate Etienne to Eto. Who's that with you? Asked Etienne. A friend, Petrus, I said. And Shazza, said Sharon with an evil grin. Now the suspense really is killing me. What have you and your infamous friends come up with? I'm not calling him Tintin. Tintin just sounds stupid. How about Tintin? No, I'm not calling him Tintin. I would rather call him Eto. over Tintin. Etienne blew out a breath. Sure. I bit back an apology and let myself smile instead. Eto, see, it's nicer, isn't it? Eto is just nicer than Tintin. I bit back an apology and let myself smile instead. He couldn't see my face after all. About Santiago, he said, bringing us back on serious topics. Please tell me you're about to leave Italy. Even over here I'm seeing golden eyes everywhere, but everyone knows Santiago's in Rome. Soon, Eto, I said. What? I raised my voice. We definitely plan to leave Rome ASAP. What? I can't hear you. Are you still there? Can you hear me? I asked. The line went dead. Bitch. I'm sorry, teacher. We will need to converse with Mr. Etienne at another time. I rubbed my eyes, surprised at how frustrated I felt. I didn't have many true friends, but Etienne was one of them. The gaze. Are you all right? Sharon asked. I didn't realise you and the Canadian hottie were an item. Yes. We're not an item, I'm just edgy. What? We're not. At least, I think we're not. What? Do you think he likes me? I'm picking the bottom and I don't give just him being like, what? I'm sorry. Do you think he likes me? This is an option? I didn't realise they were actually going to allow me. Can I get with one of them at the end? If I die, and I'm not allowed to be with one of them, I would be pissed. I will be so annoyed. Picking the bottom one. We're getting gay. I knew it, she crowed. I saw you making bush baby eyes every time so you so much mention him. Oh, shut up. I said, if you say a word to him, I'll have Moti remotely erase all of your data. Finally. The gaze. And Laura's not here to see it. Oh, that's so sad. We're getting gay. You had to sleep. Z. So sad. Anyway, she fluttered her eyelashes. Aren't you the big scary bunyip all of a sudden? I would never harm you or your data, Miss Sharon. Moti, you traitor. Luckily you have Etienne on your side, Sharon said, laughing. But I love hearts. Oh, I can finally... the gaze. I hope Mr. Etienne returns your affections, teacher. I slapped my forehead. Stop this nonsense, both of you. We have a cult leader to follow and a missing astronaut to find. You're right, of course, said Sharon. I'm gonna go make some friends. You never know what you can sniff out if your alcohol tolerance is high enough. And I'll... Teacher? Oh, Dolores is calling. Hey. How? I blurted out when the phone line's down. She also has a emoticon device. Oh, yeah. Like an Apple Watch. Oh, how does that help? Emoticon devices are excellent learners. I narrowed my eyes in suspicion. I got a bad feeling about this kid. This is not Star Wars. Moti, what did you do? I taught her fucking Moticon how to use emergency communications channels. I've taught her to hack. I was about to object to Moti's illegal activities when Sharon spoke up. That's settled then. I'm getting one for Chrissy the second we get a few minutes of working internet. Answer it. Come on, Dolores, what's going on? Putting you through now. Alright. Thanks for calling me with all those health updates. I didn't know you cared. Well, I do. There was a long pause. I'm concerned for all my employees, Dolores said stiffly, sounding embarrassed. Fine, I said. Is that why you're calling me? I feel like I've been stomped on by an elephant, but otherwise fine. Jonathan, she said, the supposed leader of the 100-Day Group, is displeased about the direction Santiago is taking his little doomsday cult. So am I, but I seem to be in a minority now. He's on his way to Rome now to speak publicly against all the murdering and so on. That's a terrible idea. He'll be killed. He believes the sun will come back and soon. Says he's got a feeling, and that his feelings have been right before, or close enough to take them seriously. Oh, this is bad. This is very, very bad. Her voice softened. I thought you'd like to know. Why are you telling me this? What does that have to do with Luca? It was her turn to pause. Nothing, she admitted. I laughed at her obvious discomfort. You do care. Shut up, she said, and I could tell she was grinning. For a moment. Listen, I have an extraction team waiting for you a little south of Rome on the coast. They have a ship to take you to Egypt as soon as you can reach them. Ettio Zincaro, smiling. I found myself looking forward to a night. If I don't get to be gay at the end of this, I want my money back. I shook my head. I shouldn't get distracted. I had a job to do, possibly the most important job I've ever had to do.
They ask you how you are.
If I don't
say that you're fine when you're not really
You're fine, but
You
you're
just
not
can't get
really
into it
fine.
because they would never
If I
understand.
don't get to be gay, that's gonna be me. Oh, that's Richard. I saw Snapchat and I was like, really confused. But it was apparently Richard typing. We're getting gay, lads. Oh, I need Waz. He will be so proud. It's because it's a Saturday and it's not my usual Tuesdays. Oh, fuck. We're just... Is he online? On a Discord or something? No, what a bitch. Can't even, like... spam him. I was just hello? I was just looking, making sure I hadn't missed anything on SC. On SC? Oh, on Snapchat. I saw you. I was like, oh, Richard's typing because I thought Laura was meant to be asleep, and I was like, oh no, it's just Richard. That's why I sent you the gays. Hi, Richard. We're getting gay, and if I die at the end of this, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be so pissed. But yeah, I was just like hella confused. It was like Snapchat. I was like, Richard? What did I send Richard? But yeah, I always miss shit. Anyway, moving on. Yas, gays. Yeah, there was a whole section that was like, you could joke being like, what do you think he likes me back? And then now I'm actually starting to think they're gonna let me be gay. If I die, I'll be pissed. I just need another day or two to confirm that. Oh, why do you? What the fucking? Richard. Oh, I know it's not the best, but there she is. Let me get her up there. Look at her, Richard. She's all pretty. She's got a shark. She lights up. She's very nice. Thank you for helping me pick her. She's a very nice mouse. Very nice. Thanks, Dolores. How long will your team be there, and can I bring other passengers? Don't push it a few days and maybe. She hung up, but I didn't feel like an insult this time. My hard-nosed boss thinks we should leave Italy. Once we're done here, we have a way out of Italy. Oh, okay. Once we're done here. Ooh, very nice indeed. Yeah, she's very pretty. Me and John were playing with her while he was in Stardew. You can set, I think there's 6 or 7 defaults for the colours. Like, one's called a waltz, and I'm pretty sure it literally does the waltz, because it does, like, it lights up different parts of the mouse to the whole da-da-da-da-da. That's the waltz, right? Whatever. That's what Amazon was doing. Oh, you mean my parcels? Yeah, that's my mouse. Yeah, she has that. Obviously, DPI. But when you do the DPI, it changes colour. So it flashes a different colours. So you know which DPI you're on. So once you learn the colours, you know what you're on. It's a very cute little mouse. Fits nicely, so I can't fault her for, you know, under a tenner. That's the song. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, that's what it does. Like, literally, I tried it, and it does, like, different flashes. Very clever, but I've just got it on rainbow. So, I do love her. She's lovely. We got a shark, and I'm happy. For, you know, what she is. I vote we head for the docks tomorrow morning. Oh, I second that. Fine, I said, we'll do it, but no get into trouble, okay? Sharon grinned and didn't say a word. Color DPI, nice con. Yeah, it's very. You can change it as well. Like the little app it you download. Lets you have office mode, game mode, and then lights and advanced and stuff. But yeah, you can change the different. I haven't figured it all out. I literally just went in just to see what colors I could do. There was one like 4 seasons. It's very clever. But yeah, right now it just goes through all the different colors, which I like. And the shark lights up, so the win-win. But yeah, at least I have a mouse. I've chucked mine on Mouse's bed. I'm pretty sure he was meant to be in, but maybe he's gone out. I don't really know. He's now got that mouse and he'll do all his shit. And that computer in there is now gone to 4 different owners. No one's getting Cheryl. Cheryl stays with me forever. Sharon grinned, but didn't say a word. She excused herself to do what she called professionally lollygagging. I went to bed. Even hungover, Sharon was cheerful. She drank about a liter of espresso. Does that mean to say liter? And was soon bouncing off the walls. We headed for the docks and quickly spotted several shady-looking characters arranged in pairs, here and there, obviously keeping watch. I wonder if they're here to help Santiago or stop him, said Sharon, drumming her fingers on her bag. I'm gonna go Sticky Beak. She has a wait, I said, but she was already moving. Petrus and I had little option but to follow her. Sure enough, the first pair Sharon accosted, both wore yellow contact lenses. They stood to attention, perhaps assuming they were being tested, since the 3 of us were obviously not Santiago's people. Who are you and what do you want? Said the taller man. Tourists, how about the sun outage? Well, we don't have the eyes, so they're going to question when we're tourists. They relaxed, which made me relax. It was good to see some nice, stupid guards. Unless they were faking it, of course. Come on, the tall one said. Let me show you something. His friend stayed in position while he led us to the water's edge. It was bad. The lichen-covered rings of the pylons of Dock 3 clearly showed the water's normal height and depth, and how far it had fallen in just a few days of darkness. Earth is freezing over, he said, folding his arms inside his jacket that he obviously purchased recently. I hadn't consciously realised I was automatically dressing more warmly despite what should have been mild Mediterranean weather. Victor Santiago believes that our planet will be solved through sacrifice. The Catholic Church has declared him a heretic. What do you think? I always disagree with murder. I'm gonna have to. He nodded thoughtfully. That's very interesting. Then he tasered me. Okay. I feel like I should have been drinking. My legs collapsed and I found myself sprawled in a wide puddle, brackish water. Ugh, I said of a way of protest. The guard, not so dumb now, hauled me up and dragged me into a shipping container that happened to conveniently be unlocked. It also had wooden floors, carpet, a low bed, a wooden chest of drawers, and 2 armchairs. He dropped me on one of the chairs. You're heavier than you look, you know that. Look, I said again, resolving to avoid tasers in the future. He opened the top drawer and chose a syringe, checking the label for coming back and pushing up my sleeve. I'm actually not very good with needles, he said, so I'd appreciate it if you hold still. Ugh, I protested. Oh, don't fuss, it's just a sedative. The taser is a short-term incapacitation. Ugh, I said, of all the kidnappers I met, he seemed the most concerned for my welfare. He stuck out his tongue with concentration as he dosed me, then he put the syringe away and carefully applied a round frozen sticker to the injection site. This game's fucking amazing. There you are, he said happily. That wasn't so bad, was it? Ugh, I said by way of agreement. Happily, the effects of the taser were wearing off, and I could feel my... Fuck me. I was feeling my body return to control. Listen, I blacked out. I woke up in a different container, which seemed rather more elaborate than strictly necessary. Petrus was gently shaking me, and at first I wondered why he kidnapped me. Then I set up and vaguely registered that the container contained several people, none of whom looked happy to be there. I'm afraid we've been captured, said Petrus. Never mind, I said, feeling slightly high from my sedative. It happens. Jonathan is here too. I think we may be in real trouble once Santiago arrives. Where's Sharon? Sharon got away, Petrus said in a low voice. Alright, I introduced myself to the rest, feeling like I was visiting the world's strangest tea party. Jonathan wore a shirt and tie. He explained to the others that he was an accountant before the first sun outage incident. A woman introduced herself through Moti as a seamstress who had come to the docks to meet a new shipment of fabric. Somehow failed to realise that being anti-murder was now a risky political position. The rest all knew each other and spoke English. They deferred to a slender woman with tattoos peeking out from behind her sleeves and collar. I'm Demina. Demina, yes, she said, not making any attempt to pretend it was her real name. You and I are in the same business. Confused by the way she seemed to be including me, I asked what she meant. You work for the company, yes? She said. I nodded, although I didn't know who she or her compatriots were. For the first time, I noticed one of the men were missing both his thumbs. Our organization... What the fuck? Our organizations are linked. The company and the Mafia... Are you... Okay, the Mafia's involved. Alright. Oh, I said, blinking. I studied them once more. It was slowly dawning on me that I was in the company of the dangerous and powerful Italian Mafia. She smirked at my confusion. Dolores hadn't mentioned the Mafia to me, but she'd obviously let them know I was in the area and that they were connected professionally. Demina laced her fingers together. I've enjoyed having His Holiness down with us instead of being disapproving. When it comes to Santiago, we find ourselves bound by a common enemy. I nodded, trying to put the pieces together. I should have drank. This would have made it so more not late. This would have made it better. Not many organizations have the power to stand against Santiago anymore. But that yellow-eyed idiota. Idiota. It's going to pay for letting his goons bother me and mine. If anyone deserved to be on the Mafia hit list, it was Santiago. I found myself liking Demina and nodded approval. She flashed me a smile before discussing whatever. Creak. We all heard the lock click open, and then the noisy creak of the door opening. The seamstress cowered behind her new friend, and I moved to stand in front of both of them for the first time. I noticed a emoticon device on Demina's wrist. It seemed the Mafia had been doing well. At least until Santiago arrived. Good day, said Sharon, her golden eyes sparkling. Santiago wants you, and you, and... The seamstress... Like, Jonathan's gonna probably get killed anyway. The seamstress doesn't deserve this. She was a little too convincing as a cult member, and even with a history of insurance, when it became difficult to extract or rescue. The guards were clearly getting suspicious, and the second we hit the open air, Sharon told us to run, which we did. The guards stood frozen with indecision for a moment, and Demina took her chance and stormed the door, scattering prisoners everywhere. Sharon, Petrus, and I dodged out of sight and hid, listening to the pursuers move. I'm not with the reading today. Nicely done, Shazza, I told her. But what took you so long? You'll see, she grinned and led us through a maze of dockyard shit to avoid any more guards on our way back to the hotel. We grabbed our things quickly and left, no longer feeling safe enough to stay in one place for long. We went to see a movie since all of us were now targets for Santiago's group. Sharon had surely made enemies with her deception. I was far too well known among the cult members, and Petrus was far too well known as a scientist to be safe. Once the movie was well into its third zombie attack, Sharon passed me her phone. Play the video, she mouthed at me. Put the phone in my pocket and went to the bathroom, hoping Sharon didn't mind me playing it inside a stall. The newest video clips started at the docks with distant shots of divers preparing for the investigation of some damaged communication cables that appeared to be in even worse shape underneath the water. Nearby, a large camera crew set up their equipment and began filming. The film cut forward and a diver emerged from the water and was interviewed. Now much closer, as Sharon had evidently gained a better position. He kept his helmet on for some of the interview so only the top half of his face was visible. He wore golden contact lenses and sounded as if he had a cold. "Thank you," the reporter gushed, moving his toothy grin closer to the camera as the driver left. That was astronaut turned aquanaut Luca, using his unique skill set to examine our waterways. He kept talking, but Sharon's camera followed the aquanaut as he was walking away, still wearing full diving apparatus. A car pulled up beside him and he tossed his helmet into the trunk before peeling off his diving suit and tossing that in too. He took out his contact lenses, tossing them to the ground as rubbish. And then he peeled off his face. Okay. I heard Sharon's recorded gasp, and then the camera turned jerky as she ran into a position a little ahead of the car and managed to get a clear shot of the man's real face just before the car caught sight of her and screeched away. I reran to a scowling still frame of the man. It most definitely wasn't Luca. So the rumours were true. Not only was he missing, but the cover-up included at least one elaborate fake. Dolores would be ecstatic, she'd tell the world. The cover-up would be exposed, and a few more energy companies would go bust as consumers lost even more confidence, leaving our client, General Resource Inc., to mop them up. And a few more thousand people would flock to Santiago's cause as they lost faith in the ability of the Italian government to protect its own citizens, or even admit they were in trouble. I chewed my lower lip and finally reached a decision. It'll be good for us, but it's not going to be good for other people. Ugh. Right, so if we send the clip to her, people are going to go to Santiago. If we don't send the clip to... Oh no, we can't. We got to save people. Fuck the company. The moment I stopped watching the film, I registered the real-world noise from the street outside. I put the phone in a zip pocket and stepped out of the bathroom into the cinema foyer. Outside the glass doors, a mob was chanting. For a moment, the noise was just noise, and I understood what they were saying. Victor, Victor, victorious. One or two glanced my way, and I realised the doors were locked and barred from the inside, and the ticket sellers had already fled. The crowd turned sideways like one giant creature and pounded on the doors. I've seen mob behaviour before. There was no stopping them. I ran back to the theatre, running into Petrus and Sharon at the door. We have to get out of here. The building is surrounded. You cannot avoid the crowd. There aren't any good hiding places. In any case, a mob this side is likely to commit arson soon. You're the multidisciplinary scientist. Sure hope you study psychology, because we need to figure out how to outwit a mob. He winced. There's only one way. Tell us, said Sharon. All right then, to stay safe, we have to join them. Oh, okay, but we stick together. I can't lose them. Good luck, he said, shaking both our hands. We all heard the sound of breaking glass in the foyer and took off in opposite. Just said stay together. We found a fire exit door propped open, and a couple of people were already inside, as if by accident. They looked dazed, as if they'd just woken up. Where's everyone's going? Is Santiago going to make a speech or something? Oh, said one of the people, moving back outside, as if pulled by a string. Yes, something... It's going to be wonderful. Today is going to change everything. There will be light again. Santiago will save us. He will save us all today. Today. It will be day again. Wonderful, said Petrus with what sounded like real warmth. We followed them outside. Some people were running outright, and the whole mob was moving quickly. I spotted dozens of individuals weeping with ecstasy. Today, huh? Perhaps this moment was the moment. Victor Santiago was proven to be a fraud. This I have to see. Move slower than the rest of the crowd, subtly outpaces you. We don't want to be, in case it goes wrong. Someone registered Petrus' face and cried out in Italian. Petrus laughed delightfully as if it was all a wondrous joke. The person who recognised him frowned in confusion, but before she could say anything further, the crowd swept her away. Petra had unconsciously slowed his steps and stumbled as if someone ran into him. He visually gathered himself, but it was quite too late. Around him, knots of people ran and walked and chanted and stumbled, and he couldn't get past them. Shazza, I said, but she was already gone. I saw her blonde hair bobbing up and down within her steps far ahead. Oh, Sharon can handle herself. The crowd moved like one giant monster with individual faces distorted by the irregular artificial street light under a black sky. I missed the sun. It had been such a long time I lost count of number of days I spent in the dark. Petrus was in grave danger, caught in a crowd that was happily following an anti-intellectual madman. I fixed my eyes on his black hair and tried to weave between people to get closer to him. It looked to me as if he was aiming for a row of cafes where the outside furniture was breaking up the crowd cohesion. I hope he knew what he was doing. His best protection was his whatever. Someone elbowed me right in the kidney and I yelled in pain, twisting away and stumbling over the curb. I fell, but the crowd held me up. When I had my feet under me again, I looked back at the overturned cafe tables and saw no sign of him. I didn't want to get knocked onto a chair leg, so I flowed with the crowd, still looking for Petrus as I let the crowd carry me. A heavy hand gripped my shoulder. Throw your head back. I feel like it's going to be Petrus if I do that, though. And he's going to be pissed. He's going to be pissed if it is him. But then if I lose them, I'm not going to find him again. Ah, fuck it. Let's smash on his head. Stop, it's me. There you go. What a surprise. Turned to face and trembling as the latest wave of adrenaline left my system. Don't look at me, he said. Keep your eyes on the stage like everyone else. I turned away obediently. The plaza was so crowded with cult members that it was barely moving. I had so many questions for the astronaut who said he was in space when the sun went out, he said. That's why I came to Rome in the first place. I hoped all the conspiracy theories were false, and Luca was just going about his business as usual. I was so looking forward to meeting him. His voice was raw with grief. I'm going now, somewhere a bit safer where I can stop chasing my dreams and get back to work. What kind of work? I asked. Data collection, he said vaguely. Washing dishes, whatever. Are you alright? I appreciate humility, but you're one of the greatest minds still alive. Thank you, he said mechanically. Perhaps the children of Gaia will take me in. Who? I choked. They're real scientists, despite their name. Last I heard, they're in Portugal. I'll take a train or ship rather than a plane this time. Sure, I said, hearing the emptiness in his words. Good luck. He laughed bitterly, and then a heavy hand lifted from my shoulder. Petrus was gone. Everywhere I looked, I saw flashes of golden eyes. Fortunately for me, things were moving so quickly that not everyone had found time to buy new contacts. There were a few people here and there who still had their own eye colour. I wondered if they were innocent bystanders desperately pretending they'd arrive at the plaza on purpose, or if Sharon and I were the only ones. A huge roar erupted from the crowd, and I flinched by instinct before seeing what they were seeing. Victor Santiago had appeared on stage. His image was expanded on multiple series of enormous screens all around the plaza. He was dressed all in black, with his arms and legs spread wide to embrace his thousands of followers. His golden eyes appeared to glow in the darkness, lit by a single spotlight from a frame that must have been erected as hastily as the stage itself. My people, he cried in English, echoed by an Italian translator somewhere backstage. This is our day. The streets are flooded with your brothers and sisters. The authorities bow to us. The faithful pray to us. The sun returns for us. The crowd, their cheering and the screaming filled the plaza, ringing in my ears even when the crowd hushed for Santiago's next words. We are no longer the 100th day. We are a new breed. We are the victorious. That's really bad. The screaming rose to new heights, and I began to think that even if I survived, my hearing would not. The Victorious, someone whispered nearby, like on TV. My daughter loves that show. Shut up, whispered someone else. I bit my lip hard to suppress a burst of laughter. A moment later, no one was laughing. Santiago stretched out his right hand, making his hand vanish in the blackness. He pulled back his hand, dragging a red-haired woman by the hair. She collapsed at his feet, sobbing in terror, and no one else made a sound. "This woman is an unbeliever," said Santiago, staring straight at the crowd as if daring anyone to disagree. The woman's sobs echoed around the plaza, amplified by 1,000,000 times over. The crowd barely breathed. With his left hand, Santiago drew a gun from his holster under his black jacket. Moti vibrated on my wrist, drawing my attention to a silent message. "Teacher, Mr. Santiago is going to kill that woman." I dipped my head in a tiny nod. "Shall I call the police or Miss Domino and the Mafia?" Moti's display indicated that all I had to do was tap the right section of the screen to show my decision. Oh, fuck, the police doesn't care. Domino does. I have sent a message and a video to Miss Domina's Moticon device. Her reply came up almost instantly. "Under the circumstances, we'll give you a discount rate for his capture. 1,000,000 euros. I hesitated knowing I was dealing with an organisation that could easily rise up to take Santiago's place. Also, I wasn't sure my discretionary funds stretched that far.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a million euros.
Wow.
A lot of money.
Wow.
God damn it, Owen. Wow. Teacher, do I tell her yes or say you need time to make arrangements? Fuck. Say yes and pay her immediately. You'll need to drain several accounts, or tell her I need time. Well, she's about to kill someone. Oh, fuck. He's about to kill someone. And then, either way, if she doesn't turn up, we've lost millions, but also at the same time, she works for the same shit. But if I go with I need time, that woman's definitely dead. Fuck. Ow, my devil horns hurt. It's not good. There we go. Okay, say yes and pay her immediately. You'll need to drain several accounts or tell her I need time and inform Dolores. No, because we weren't going to call Dolores. Fuck it. Let's pay her. See what happens. The money and even the Mafia wouldn't be enough. There was a woman on stage about to die and no one was close enough to save her. I wasn't close enough, but Moti was. Moti, can you hack these big screens and write a message? Of course, teacher. Do it now. Write the message. Santiago, stop now or we will end you. Translated to. Hacking the screens now, teacher. My message appeared one letter at a time on screens. In seconds it was all there. In English, Italian and Spanish. Santiago, stop. Now or we will end you. The screen didn't show Santiago's image anymore. But I was close enough to the stage to see the fury on his face as he read my ultimatum. For a moment I thought it might work or buy some time. Then Santiago shot his victim. Alright. Her sobbing stopped at once, leaving total silence. Fuck. Santiago raised his arms in triumph just as my message vanished from all screens and his image returned. It seemed he'd had his own actors on standby. "We are victorious," he cried. There was tiny hesitation as the crowd absorbed the fact that they just witnessed a murder. The woman lay at Santiago's feet like a discarded doll. She was no one and nothing. We didn't even know her name. Then the mob erupted in cheers. "The sun," they chanted. "The sun, the sun." Santiago lowered his arms, bowing like a conjurer. The crowd hushed once more. I heard Sharon's unmistakable Australian voice as she shouted, "Where's the sun? Hey, Santiago. Hey, Santiago, wasn't the sun coming back today?" At the noise, I turned quickly and spotted her, as two men dragged her towards the stage. Oh, fuck. One of them clapped a black-gloved hand over her mouth. All three slipped under the black fabric draping the stage and effectively vanished. There is unbelief here. I feel it poisoning the air and holding back the light. The crowd burst into murmuring. People started looking from side to side, searching for a guilty party. I suddenly wished I thought to buy yellow contacts for myself. For a moment I thought Santiago would simply stand by and watch his mob evolve into a full-blown riot. Then he spoke again. Return to your homes and be at peace, or select a small group of the most faithful and travel across the sea to make a greater, purer sacrifice. Our son shall return by this time tomorrow. He made a flourish in the air and the spotlight turned off. A few moments later, his light turned back on, but with a wider, soft focus. Santiago and the dead woman were gone. The crowd blinked and moved slowly as if coming out of a dream. One by one, people began to leave the plaza. I didn't see any sign of Sharon. He knows our face, so us trying to beg to be included ain't gonna go great. He knows us, but he's not there. But if we get Moti to figure it out... Fuck. Moti. I headed out by taxi, fuming in silence, while Moti tracked down Santiago's likely destination. Luckily for me, I'd hit upon the one Italian who didn't feel comfortable conversing in English, or at least I was left to my thoughts. I just witnessed a cold-blooded murder, and so had tens of thousands of ordinary people, yet the crowd had done nothing but cheer. Was this really a world worth saving? I wasn't too impressed with the human race right now, but there was no way I could leave Sharon to her fate. Teacher, I figured out Santiago's destination. Yeah? What is it? The island of Malta. Ah, Shazza will be pleased. We're going somewhere a bit warmer. Miss Sharon must be so scared. No, not Shazza. She knows we're on our way. We found the boat Dolores had left for me, complete with a fantastically sketchy crew. There were only 3, all women, sisters perhaps, with tangled black hair and dirt-encrusted fingernails. Not one of them had all their teeth, although I was sure they wasn't much older than 40. Before I stepped on board, I asked the captain about her religious beliefs. She caught my drift easily enough. You mean, do I think Santiago killing people's gonna restore the sun? She spat over the railing. We're sailors. That's a bit too superstitious nonsense even for us. I'm delighted to hear it, I said. Pay in advance, she responded. You're gonna never know when the world's gonna end. True enough, said, knowing full well all 3 had already been paid. I paid them again all the same. We set sail for Malta. Befriend the crew. We like having people. I braved the frigid wind on deck to join the women on the bridge. One of them pointed out that 4 people could play a fair hand of poker and produced a salt-encrusted pack of cards. It looked a lot like someone who used those cards could easily memorize the back of every card by the blots and creases, but it wouldn't be my money I'd be laying out. And so it was that I lost another 100 euros and loved every minute of it. I went to my cabin and lay down just for a minute with my shoes still on. I woke up a few hours later as one of the crew shook me, breathing rancid breath into my face as she called my name. Murferg, I said. She showed her language skills by understanding me instantly. We're within sight of Santiago's vessel. If you like, we can sneak you aboard. My name is Megan. Oh, I only noticed, he said, rubbing my eyes. It's a big boat, and we hitched a ride on it plenty of times before Santiago claimed it. Sounds fun. They were right. The ferry was enormous. It loomed above us like a multi-story apartment complex. One of the women came with me in a little motorized boat that could have never caught up with the ferry on its own. Fortunately, we dropped in right in front of it. For one terrifying moment, I thought the ferry would crush us both to pieces, sailing over our boat without so much as noticing a blip. Then my companion neatly hooked one of the ferry's emergency ladders with a curved stick and braced us against the ferry's side, with an oar in her other hand. Go on then, she said through gritted teeth. We don't have all day. I leapt aboard and climbed quickly, my arms aching more from the cold than exertion. In the wind, I guessed the deck would be abandoned. I was right. By the time I turned back, I saw no sign of my own ship or the little boat that had delivered me onto the ferry. So much for that. For now, it was time to find Sharon. I strolled all around the deck, asking Moti to take measurements and find places where a prisoner could be hidden. Teacher, did you hear that tapping? I stopped dead and listened, and once I schooled my breathing and sorted out the sounds of confused seagulls and low chatter, I heard it too. 3 taps, then a pause. Moti, I hear it. Do you think it's Morse code? Good idea, teacher. 3 short taps indicates the letter S. Oh, is she signaling an SOS call? No, teacher, just the letter S. Over and over. That's Sharon, all right. And I suppose it means she's on her. That is a plausible theory. Of course, we're talking about Shazza here. Her definition of unhurt might not be the same as the rest of the world. Based on the tapping and the hasty repurposing of this vessel, Miss Sharon is likely to be in the storage area behind the bar. I see why she doesn't feel the need for a hasty rescue. I stopped for a moment and blinked. Something was strange. Moti, how do you know so much about this ferry? I asked, even though I was pretty sure I already knew the answer. I hacked into the ferry's wireless network, teacher. It is not very secure, unlike the bar storage door, which is the sturdiest lock on board. I see. How do we get there without being seen? If she's tapping loud enough for us to hear, it's unlikely she's under guard. Moti directed me downwards, then upwards, and I soon found the unattended bar. A few patient individuals had found the bar before me and were waiting with a stoic determination at the tiny round tables. They looked up hopefully when I came in. Hello, I said smoothly. Yes, I'm the bartender, but I'm afraid you've misplaced the key to the storage. This might take a minute. 7125. I spotted the keypad a moment later and pushed the buttons. Thankfully, my lucky stars, that Moti was now an accomplished hacker with no qualms of breaking the law. Someday I need to cut way back on the illegal activities, for both of us. Sharon sat cross-legged on the floor, still banging on the metal wall. Oh, she said. Hi. There was an unconscious man about 3 feet from Sharon who was bound with zip ties and was gagged with a scarf. Noticing who I was looking at, Sharon laughed. Don't worry about him. He was my guard, so I knocked him out. Which was unfortunate since I didn't have the passcode to open the door. Glanced at the keypad she was gesturing at. The door was locked from the inside too. Bartender, called one of the patrons behind me. Breaking out my stupor, I cleared my throat. Stop dawdling, I said loudly. Stepping a little bit. These people are waiting for drinks. Sharon immediately picked up on what I was doing. Springing to her feet, she laughed and pushed past me to the bar. It sure looks like 5 o'clock out there, doesn't it? Someone laughed nervously. Sea breeze, anyone? Whiskey? Or would you like one of my signature cocktails while we potter over to the delightful Malta for an impromptu holiday? Somehow it didn't surprise me at all that Sharon had experienced bartending. Just wish we could have some drinks ourselves. When the group was well satisfied, she found an honesty jar, labelled it with the code to storage room, and took me by the arm to get some privacy. Thanks for opening the door, she said cheerfully. We have almost reached Malta. Better get a wriggle on then, said Sharon. Where did they put Jonathan? Do you think he could be on board? I asked. I'm sure of it. He was under the stage in the plaza. Santiago is on board, and so is he. Santiago will kill him for sure. Not if we find him first. Let's find Jonathan. Let's try and save a man. Let's go lower. That's traditional for prisoners on the ships, isn't it? That and castles, I said, as we headed down the closest stairwell we could find. I jumped at the sound of a crackly message over the ferry's intercom. We are now drawing close to the island of Malta. Prepare to leave the vessel. You will be led to your accommodation for this evening. I realised we'd been sailing at high speed for more than 12 hours. Accommodation? So he's already got friends here. And enemies. The madness can't go on forever. Sharon glanced reflexively at a nearby porthole. We could really use some sunshine about now. Santiago wouldn't have so much power then, I agreed. Speaking of which, Santiago knows that if the sun comes back at the wrong moment, his murdering spree is over. He'll stay on the boat, where he knows he can get away. I bet he keeps Jonathan on board too. So do we stow away and make sure he's not as safe as he thinks he is, or do we get on land and see what havoc we can wreak while he's asleep? I'm staying. This is where the fun will be. I shouldn't leave Shazza. Do you know what? No, I'm not going to go anywhere without Shazza. If anything happens, let's meet in Portugal. I swear I just picked I'd stay with her. Okay. I swear I just picked I'd stay with her, but okay. We're gonna lock her in. I agreed and we hid the guard she had knocked out inside one of the liquor cabinets. Once we were certain the man wasn't, I locked the back room door with Sharon behind it and hid behind a lifeboat. Oh, okay. For once I was grateful for it to be dark. It kept me safe while Santiago's hand-picked guards patrolled the deck. I waited until midnight before meeting up with Sharon in the deserted bar. She yawned at me pointedly and said, I thought you'd wandered off. Together, Sharon, Moti and I okay, we are together. Sharon and Moti and I searched the ferry from bottom to top, avoiding guards and snatching a little food here and there. At last, I heard voices, 2 men speaking in Spanish, and grabbed Sharon's arms. That's them. I could hear Victor and Jonathan's voices behind the closed door. Before we could do anything, however, one of them suddenly stormed out of the room via a different door. I suspected it was Victor. I don't know how, but I can feel you through the door. Jonathan suddenly just said as if we were about to creak the door open. You should leave. I can't go with you yet. I need to keep trying with Santiago. How did Jonathan know we were here? Victor chose that moment to re-enter the room Jonathan was in and they started talking again. She listened for a few moments. They're arguing. Jonathan is begging him to stop what he's doing. Is there anyone else in there? No one else is talking, but that doesn't mean much. Keep listening. We're not getting murdered yet. You listen. I don't like pointless jibber-jab. Before I could stop... Okay, doesn't really matter. Fine. She heard herself through the narrow door and suddenly Santiago was yelling in Italian. There were more people inside. I tapped on Moti's screen to let Moti know I understood. Let go of me, Sharon shouted. Look at... all you 5 men with guns against 1 woman. She was sending me a message and I listened, tucking myself under a life preserver that had its own intended compartment in the wall. I shut my eyes and listened with my whole body, terrified I'd hear gunshots as Santiago killed one of the few people I actually cared about in the world. Instead, I heard the door creak back open and I silently counted as the guards came out and left. 1, 2, 3. If they all left, the odds are Sharon and I and Jonathan get free had suddenly improved. 4. 2 strong hands gripped my arms from behind and hurled me out onto the floor. Fight like fury or go limp then get away the second they loosen their grip. Yeah, fuck it, let's start fighting, see what happens. I punched and bit and kicked and the hands holding me let go. I heard a flurry of Italian that sounded like swearing and I sprinted for the open air. The freezing air hit me like a slap in the face, and even as I ran for my life, I noticed the bitter edge of the breeze. Behind me, I heard more voices shouting and running feet. I knew exactly how to make them lose enthusiasm from the chase. I ran to the water, hauling in deep breaths of air that scraped my chest, and jumped into the sea. For a moment, I thought I'd been shot. It was just the water. I swam until I judged I was too far away to be shot, and I turned back. No one else was in the water. I swam a little way around the island, needing to avoid the people. Once again, the darkness kept me from being discovered. Moti tried desperately to get me in an argument about politics, but I quickly realised Moti was just trying to keep me talking in order to monitor my health. Then we agreed about whether I deserved to have a emoticon, or if I was simply creating a moral supercomputer with no empathy and no limits. I had a bad feeling Moti had been wondering about some deep questions for a long time. And worse, that Moti was right to worry, but I was so tired. I reached the store, stole dry clothes from someone's house. Moti told me to. It wasn't my idea. Brought a pair of golden contact lenses and booked into a new hotel while I had a steaming hot shower, cranked the heating, and then drank scalding hot tea until I finally stopped shivering. I didn't want to go outside ever again. And Sharon was still in Santiago's boat. I crawled under the covers with one more mug of tea, trying to think of a plan. When the chanting in the street started, I woke up. It was morning, and I was still wearing my shoes. It was time. I grabbed my things and ran down to join the mob, terrified that Sharon would be appearing on stage to be publicly killed. The crowd carried me back to the seashore, where Santiago stood and waved to the crowd from the upper deck of its ferry. The shore was lined with more of these revolting giant screens, all showing grossly oversized copies of Santiago's face. "Today is the day," he screamed, and his wailing was amplified until it rang in my head like oversized bells. "Today I sacrificed my spiritual father. I had a very bad feeling. I knew where this was going. In my heart of hearts, I was relieved. Either he didn't have Sharon or he was saving her for another day. Today, together, we bring back the sun." Little puffs of his breast showed white against the black curtain someone had erected behind him. He spread his arms wide. "I am a victor and we are victorious." The crowd screamed in delight, and I knew I was a coward for being glad no one was looking at me. The curtain parted and Jonathan stumbled out on stage and was falling to his knees at Santiago's feet. "Behold, my teacher, my leader, my sacrifice, the founding father of the 100th day." Blood trickled down Jonathan's face. Even from a distance I could see that he had been beaten and he was shaking like a leaf. He was terrified. He knew he was going to die. He stood and took 3 steps forward. It was clear he barely had the strength to stand. One of the guards lunged for him, but Santiago waved them away.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never
The man has
understand.
been beaten with an inch of his life. And you're playing Katy Perry? Jonathan grasped the microphone with both hands and the crowd hushed. "I am not worthy," he said to the crowd. Santiago smiled. Jonathan blinked as blood dripped into his eyes. His voice shook. "I am not willing." Santiago scowled and moved to cut him off. "Don't listen to him. This is not a sacrifice," Jonathan said, speaking quickly and pulling the microphone stand with him across the deck. "This is wrong. You know this is wrong." Jonathan continued addressing the crowd. "No one is being saved. The sun will not return by murdering people. Open your eyes, I beg you." 1 or 2 people in the crowd shifted their feet, suddenly unsure about their grand purpose. No one moved closer to the freezing water. For the first time since I'd met Jonathan, I could actually see him as a cult leader. He was always so meek and afraid that I found it hard to imagine him as a leader of any kind. "Please," Jonathan screamed, "listen to me. The sun will return, but not today. Not like this. Not with murder. There is hope, I promise you, but this is..." In one fast movement, Victor drew a gun and shot him in the head. He slumped over his microphone, permanently silenced. From far away, he looked like a drunk or an exhausted child sleeping awkwardly and publicly without needing a mattress or dignity. The stand propped him up as if he could simply open his eyes and be alive once more. But on the giant screens it was clear that the dark hood of his jacket hung loose. Half of his head was gone. Jonathan was dead. The delicate balance of corpse and stand shifted as the ferry moved with the sea, and Jonathan fell forwards, landing on the giant stage. The crowd sighed softly, like a last mourner at a new grave when the funeral was finished long ago. Sadness?
They ask
Yes.
you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get
He's
into it
dead,
because they would
Libby!
never understand.
He's not fine. He's dead. He's definitely not fine. He's dead. A few flakes of snow like Holocaust. Oh, fuck. Oh, the Holocaust. Of course we're going to get one of those comments.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow. 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 Wow.
at the Holocaust.
Wow. Wow.
People looked to the sky, watching it fall. A child laughed delightedly. She'd probably never seen snow before. "Teacher, it has never snowed on Malta before." "I know, Moti," I said, and shivered inside my stolen clothes. The snow fell harder, blowing in freezing flurries and speckles Jonathan's dark coat. The sun did not come back. For a moment, I thought I saw fear on Victor Santiago's face. He bent and dragged the microphone out from under Jonathan's body. The cord was tangled around his arm, and it took a long time. Who dared to disbelieve? Your faith has been tested and found wanting. There must be a greater sacrifice because of your disbelief. A murmur of horror washed across the crowd. Snow dusted Santiago's black hair. Tell me you've recorded that, I said through gritted teeth. Yes, teacher. Shall I send it to news networks? No, Moti. More attention will only help Santiago. Then what shall I do? What is Demina doing right now? She's here on Malta. Correction, she is on the ferry currently owned by... Call her, I said. Putting you through now, teacher. Demina's calm voice greeted me. Have you found Sharon, I asked. Your blonde friend managed to send us the coordinates of Santiago's mobile base. Is she safe? Did you let her out? Ah, it seems you have conflicting priorities. Do you want Santiago taken out of the picture tonight before he kills again, or do you want Sharon freed? You're right there. Can't you do both? Not with our current resources. We can only do one thing tonight. Also, it will cost you another $1 million. Another $1 million? Sharon freed you from that shipping container, as you know perfectly well. The company would never approve another $1 million for Sharon. If I wanted to make a new deal... Oh, fuck. I'd either have to steal from the company or lie to the Mafia. Both is a bad idea. Sorry, that just won't do. I believe you're aware that the Mafia isn't a charity, so which is it? Shall we get Santiago tonight as per original agreement? Or free Sharon? Oh, fuck. Sharon can handle herself. I don't think she's dead. Santiago's the bigger threat. He's probably going to get away anyway. Sharon's probably fine. Focus on Santiago. It was a pleasure doing business with you. I was unable to be civil, so I hung up. What have you done? I'm ceasing communication with you until further notice. That's fair, I whispered, staggering through the crowd to lean against a stone wall. My gut twisted and I dug my fingers. Had I just sentenced Sharon to death? And we won't know. $35. Oh, so only 35 of us bothered to try to take care of Santiago. Now, I'm gonna... Oh god, wrong thing. Jesus Christ. I just want to save. Just to be sure. But I'm gonna continue for the next 20 minutes. A long time ago, Jonathan had been the leader of the 100-Day Cult, a name based on his prediction of the Second Sun outage. An even longer time ago, he'd been an ordinary man in an ordinary office crunching numbers. His body barely even made a splash. The crowd dispersed quickly this time, unconsciously sensing that being close to Santiago meant being close to death. Santiago and his cult disappeared in the ferry, leaving a pair of armed men standing on deck. Sharon, Victor, and the Mafia were all in that ferry. I was the only one on the outside. Waiting was my only option, I realised. Until an opportunity presented itself, I had no choice but to watch the ferry from the docks. Eventually the guards would have to change their shift and I could sneak on board. For now I just had to wait, so I waited. And waited. I waited until I fell asleep, the snow falling all around me. G'day. Familiar Australian voice greeted me, waking for a nap. As my breath puffed out to me at once and I'd calm myself before turning to her. Shazza? Sharon, I told you! Oh. She's hurt though, but she's not dead. Sharon tried to grin over a grimace. One of her eyes was closed. It was caked in blood. I could see the burn marks around her and her closed eye. One and only. What happened to your eye? This? Muzzle blast. Some dingbat shot his gun next to my eye during my grand escape. You should see the state of him now. I take it Demina didn't help you. The Mafia broad, we crossed paths once, but she had her own agenda. She's still there keeping an eye on Santiago. I'm not gonna... Glad you're out of there. That's all I'm gonna say. Me too, she said and winced in pain. Sharon, about your eye, I think you need a doctor. Don't be a dingo. Come on. Let's get somewhere warmer. I glanced down at my wrist. Moti, Sharon's back. Are you still not talking to me? Moti didn't reply. I sighed. I saved €1,000,000. Sharon was alive and the Mafia was on Victor. I could handle the silent treatment. As we walked away from the docks, I glanced back at Santiago's ferry several times. It was interesting that he'd chosen to deliver his second sacrifice from on board a ship guarded by an icy sea. Even Santiago knew that Santiago couldn't last. I only just fell out of the truth Santiago's fate when his ferry turned and motored away. His most faithful paused to watch him go, and I wondered if they felt relieved or abandoned now that he declared themselves to be insignificantly faithful. I certainly hoped Demina would do more than just keep an eye on Santiago. At the moment, the enormous black screens leaning the water hit up with Santiago's face once more. I have searched for the faithless one in our midst and have found her at last. Fuck. If you see this false woman among us, capture her at once and bring her to me in Rome. She will be our last and greatest sacrifice. Her image faded from... Fuck, Sharon. My heart skipped a beat as I tried to process what the new lie meant for my friend. We turned to look at each other. This way, Sharon whispered, and I followed. She led us into a large cathedral that looked like it was constructed at least 5 centuries ago. Once we were sure we were out of danger, Sharon stood next to me and examined the cathedral's sign, something painted with a critical air. I'd like it better if beheadings hadn't just become a possibility again. Victor had been killing his victims by shooting them in the head, but I wasn't about to argue to the point, so I didn't say anything. My first instinct is to go and slap that pig-headed lout right in the face, but I've decided to be cautious and stick a little closer to you for a while. We try and fuck. Let's go and join Petrus and his children of Gaia people in Portugal. Too angry. I'm angry too. Time to stop Santiago once and for all. I feel like if we go and try and stop him, Sharon's gonna get hurt. And she's already hurt her. So I'm thinking we go to Portugal. I'm going with Portugal. I'm hoping that that's a good idea.
I have brought peace, freedom, justice,
You good.
and security to my new empire.
I picked Portugal,
Your
not
new
Mustafa.
empire? Don't make me kill you.
Don't make me kill you.
Anakin, my allegiance is to
Anakin,
the
my
Republic,
allegiance is
to
the Republic.
democracy.
To democracy.
If you're not with me,
You're not with me,
then you're my
then
enemy.
you're my enemy.
Only a Sith deals in
Only
absolutes.
Sith deals in absolutes.
I will do what I must.
I'll do what I must.
You will try.
You will try. And then he flips, and then there's one of the coolest fight scenes in Star Wars. She bundled her distinctive hair into a colourful silk scarf for the day and put on sunglasses to hide her injured eye. It was drawing too much attention to us. Even wearing sunglasses in the dark was better than nothing. We hired to get back to the docks, and I was embarrassed to have to ask Sharon to pay. It's fine. If it wasn't for sending Chrissy a bit of modical money, I'd be swimming in it right now. I didn't know what to say, so I said nothing. Dolores has given you a partial advance on your pay for the next 10 years. She has forwarded it directly to Miss Demina. Oh, I said, weakly, contemplating 10 more years with the company. Good. Perhaps we'd all die much sooner than that. So, beg, borrow, or steal? Oh, I still have a ship. I'll have Dolores send it. Yeah, we have a ship, I think. For the moment Sharon started talking to our captain, it was clear we were in the company of pirates. Still, I trusted them more than I trusted Santiago. I was worried they'd try to kidnap Sharon, or steal Moti, but instead they took excellent care of us, sailing closer to the African coast than the European coast, since both Spain and France governments were in a state of bloody collapse. We passed so close to Tunisia, I saw one of the ruined undersea communication cables with my own eyes. The entire Mediterranean stunk of dying algae due to the lack of sunlight. We had to take turns on watch with the crew, since far too many fish attacked our boat, as if we were personally to blame for their discomfort. Animals everywhere had gone nuts, and we were showing no signs of improvement. I shot a dragonfish with wide-eye a shot with wide, white, staring eyes and uneven teeth. Sharon told me she shot dozens of sharks as they tried to bite her into our hole over and over. We were relieved when we reached Lisbon and could leave the sea behind. From then on, we were only dealt with kamikaze pigeons and household pets behaving like apex predators, with unpleasant results. I was very uncomfortable being on the streets, since Portugal had hundreds of GoldenEye people scattered all around the shops and public transport, and I felt like Sharon's face would be recognised at any moment. We couldn't get through to Petrus, but Moti assured me that triangulating his location for past activity was well within its abilities. We need to get to him. Moti led us through most of Lisbon all the way to an abandoned farmhouse outside the city. Are you sure, Moti? I don't see anyone here. You never listen to me. I am smarter than you. Sorry, Moti, I said and let our taxi leave. Things had changed between Moti and I didn't seem able to fix it. Sometimes later I'd have to ask for more details about Moti's updates, since it had long since stopped informing me of any changes. Sometime later. We walked up to the farmhouse and slowly circled the entire building, examining it by torchlight. The door hung open. It had a wooden bar on the outside instead of a traditional lock, and what remained of the bar had been thoroughly chewed by some kind of animal. Sheep did this. Sheep are dumb, but not usually dumb enough to eat wood. All the animals are acting strangely now. It looked like Sharon had plenty more to say about sheep, but two women came out of the shadows and trained a matched pair of revolvers at us. Hey, it looks like we've come to the right place after all. You will come with us, one of them said, speaking with a heavy accent. She wore a large wooden cog on a string around her neck. Nah, go with them, fuck it. Sharon produced her own wooden cock necklace, and the women put their guns away once and exclaimed in delight. This was in my house just before I left Peru, Sharon explained. It belonged to a historian friend of mine before he died. What was his name? I never could pronounce it. Always thought I'd summon Cthulhu if I did. The women exchanged a glance and asked if Sharon's joke meant something serious to them. They pulled back a trapdoor disguised by a huge amount of dirty straw that looked glued on, and all four of us stepped down into the darkness. I counted 23 hollow wooden steps until we hit a slick clay floor and walked onwards, listening to one another squelching footprints for another 57 steps. Then at last I heard a creak of a wooden door and light flooded into the tunnel. We emerged blinking into an almost underground room. It had dozens of 7-foot-high wooden partitions around the edges, indicating sleeping and working quarters. The centre of the room was full of mouldy armchairs and wooden tables. One wall featured an enormous brightly coloured mural of a cog like the wooden ones I'd already seen. Another wall dripped with condensation and had large candles lined along it as a defence against the water. There were at least 20 people in the central area. One of them was Petrus, chatting away so happily in Portuguese he didn't even notice our entry. Tell them you're friends with him. Everyone's friend with Petrus, the leader said dismissively. Petrus looked up. Oh, finally. Oh, he said. Hello, why didn't you call or say you were coming? What kind of dropkick wanders off mid-riot and doesn't even have the sense to leave his phone above ground? Huh? Said Petrus. I did get a little distracted. May I present the children of Gaia? One or two waved slightly before going back to what they were doing. Our guide went into one of the partitioned areas and brought us a little girl who brightened as soon as she saw us. She skipped over before frowning in confusion. Dice. And one was, Thank you, Moti, I said. Glad we're apparently getting along again. The girl walked around looking as if she was examining a strange new animal that Sue. She said something about trays and then tried to hide behind her mother's legs. Her mother carefully guided the girl's hand away from the gun holstered at her hip and asked, is it possible you could be pregnant? Nick off. I had a few gelato, that's all. Her mother shrugged away an apology and led the girl away. I heard another child giggle, so evidently there was more than one family present. Petrus rose and came over, looking to us. Looking shy. They want to know how you intend to help with their work here. You tell me. The children of Gaia are interested in finding the lost knowledge of the past. You are, fundamentally, an investigator. That will fit well enough. He turned his focus to Sharon, looking thoughtful. I'll tell you how I'm useful. Guess who's super ultra pissed at yours truly right now? Shazza, are you talking about the person I think you're talking about? If they're with him, I'd rather know now. I'd rather find out when we're not trapped in their underground base. Yeah, that's true. She shrugged. Victor Santiago, head of the newly re-christened... Victorious cult wants me dead. I had expected either applause or a full-on attack. Instead, people look confused. But why kill you? You're not even worthy. She turned full fury on him. Excuse me? Petrus backtracked hastily. The little girl, she sensed a certain necessary quality sacrifice needs to have. A death wish. You're looking for people who want to die. No, honestly, we're not really sure what makes a person worthy, just that you don't have it. Right. On the upside, you get to live, assuming we have to find someone else who is worthy. I mean, Sharon shook her head at him. I swear I used to be good at explaining things. Let's eat and get settled and try to sort this out in the morning. It depends what we've got to eat. This used to be a sheep farm before the sheep went mad. So, lamb. Absolutely, as far as underground hideouts go, this one is quite nice. None of us mentioned the condensation problem. We ate and settled into our own little corner of the hall to sleep. The lights dimmed, but we could still hear other people whispering and the fretful cry of a cross baby. Sharon, Petrus and I sat cross-legged around a low table playing cards in the evening lull. I trust these people, and I'm interested in what they have to say. Sharon said, you trust everyone. Just as I said, you're interested in everyone. Petrus chuckled. True enough. So what do you two think? They hate Santiago. That's good enough for me. That little girl saw me. Did you mean the one who accused me of being pregnant? Of course. She saw me, but her mother didn't understand. Petra's eyes lit up. Perhaps there's something to that child after all. I thought she was merely a stand-in for a xenophobic suspicion of strangers, but there could be more going on. I need more data. I'd like to find out what they think they know. They're supposed to be... They seem to be immune, but let's stay alert. Oh no, let's find out. Moti stayed on guard as usual, but it was the sudden brilliance of the artificial lighting that woke us up at the crack of dawn. Sharon woke up straggled head and swearing, and I didn't feel any better. The one good thing about having no sun was that it was easier to sleep in. Sadly, the children of Gaia felt otherwise. We stumbled out of our semi-private section of the room to see everyone gathered around a TV on a wheeled stand. There were bloody scenes of mob violence with guns, knives, trampling, and shouted chants I couldn't understand. Moti, please translate for us, quietly. Yes, teacher. The Prime Minister has been killed. Lisbon is burning. Gangs of truckers are shooting dissenters in the countryside. What's a dissenter in that context? Anyone with golden eyes. Even natural ones. Anyone who voted for the dead Prime Minister. All foreigners. Petrus, Sharon and I instinctively drew closer together. Several of the Portuguese drew their weapons and turned to face us. We are with you, the children of Gaia. Don't shoot. Where's that little girl? What did she see when she looked at us? Let's ask about the girl. Leave my daughter alone, shouted the woman who had been the first to draw a gun on us. She's not old enough. Old enough for what? I genuinely confused. I didn't think they were really going to hurt us, or if they did, the girl would know anyway. I saw Miss Vera mentally scrabbling for something else to talk about to protect her daughter from something I didn't understand. We're all in one giant cave with nothing but wooden frames to give the illusion of privacy. The gun-toting mother, everyone deferred to raise an empty hand and everyone felt silent. Behind her, the TV continued showing riots and carnage across Portugal. Miss Vera, marksman, mother and boss, looked at Sharon and saw just the distraction she needed. Tell us about the cog you wear. I told you it was left for me when my friend died. Cleek Alpha... Oh, fucking... Yeah, sure, that's him. He was a historian. He died. I forgot about that dude. Miss Ferris stepped closer. Her eyes intense. Were you there when he died? I would have stopped it if I was. The children of Gaia stepped back, some of them making an unconscious hiss of distaste. Sharon glanced at me, evidently uncomfortable with the topic. Tell them about... Oh, yes. We have a cog. I also have a wooden cog that was inherited rather than directly given to me. I said, feeling weirdly like a high school junior trying to join the cool kids. Did he also sacrifice himself? What? No, he was a murder victim. Victor Santiago ordered the hit because Sol was such a brilliant scientist. This must have been a hard time for you. But then, her attention back to Sharon. How much do you know about the dude? I didn't comment on the fact that Miss Farrow was apparently on first-name basis with the historian. Presumably even secret societies had online forums. He died at the Inti Ramen Festival. Or Raimi Festival, whatever it is. Sharon said, looking at the cog design on the wall rather than focusing on the people listening to her. When I got home to pack, I found a parcel with the letter and map to the place he died in this cog. He left them for me. I had wondered why she never told me about the parcel. Sharon did an angry little shake of her head. His letter was all about how he didn't think he was worthy or whatever. Miss Farris sat on one of the communal chairs and everyone else did too. Sharon remained standing, so I stood with her. I remember Jonathan saying something about worthiness just before Santiago publicly murdered him. Something told me the children of Gaia had been following Santiago's rise and that they would know exactly who Jonathan was. Was Jonathan one of you? No. More's the pity, he was closer to being worthy than any of us. Worthy? Sharon said, making it sound like a dirty word. Worthy is an inefficient word. It simply means a particular type of person. Like a personality trait, Sharon asked. No, although perhaps a little. She sighed. I've studied them, the worthy, ever since my daughter's gift was discovered. The only thing they have in common is extraordinarily high level of empathy, which includes the ability to recognize others like themselves. That's why you had your daughter look at us, to see if we were worthy. My daughter sees people differently. Jonathan also had the same quality, whatever it is, that she has. And I've been attempting to track another person, an Egyptian, but he's also a child. There isn't time for children to grow up. We need an adult. For what? I said, starting to feel relieved that Sharon and I hadn't been declared worthy. To willingly sacrifice their life. That's it, isn't it? Like in the pictures hidden inside the temple. The temple in Peru. Memories of the hidden pictures came rushing back to me. The sacrifice itself. The cog machine depicting the sacrificed man crushing universes. The celebration of living after the sacrifice was complete. She didn't say a word, but it was clear Sharon had understood the children of Gaia perfectly. I've had enough, Sharon. Let's go. That's an incredibly dangerous theory. What is the time? God damn, that's an incredibly dangerous theory. And that is if it lets us. It's hopefully where it's going to let me leave. And if not, it's not my fault. But we roughly know where we are. We have made 305 choices. Oh my god, are you sure you want to continue? Cancel. Oh, I don't want to do that. I just wanted to go back. Jeez. God, I only wanted to go back. But we're still not done. I'm pretty sure it's going to end at Arc 10. So I feel like the next time we play, we could be nearly done because we're partway through 9. But it takes like an hour and a bit to get through an arc. So we're partway through 9. And then I feel like it will either be 2 more streams or 1 big stream. But I think I will post it in Discord. I think unless it depends on what happens next week. Because my aim is to do... I've got Tuesday and Friday planned. And then depending on what Matt's doing, if he is doing VR again... I will either do Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, or Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Saturday will be the day we play choices, but it all depends on how well, like, just what's happening. Plus, everything could change if I get the phone call and get the appointment that I need, but they are refusing to contact me, so screw them. I can't be bothered to go out of my way to deal with them, so... Here's one: whiteboards are remarkable. God damn it. God fucking damn it. Yes, yes, reminders. I'll take my meds in a bit. If you're going bald, don't comb your hair over your bald patch. Well, I'm not going bald, so I'm alright. But yes, tomorrow is Stardew. I'm gonna aim to start early. I've got quite a few plans I want to do. Depends on how early I fit start. I might eat. It's gonna be between 7 and half 7. If I'm done pretty easy with dinner, I will probably try and just start between them, just because I want more time to do more, and I know we're going to end up going later. Here's one: what happens to a frog car when it breaks down? It gets towed. Oh, I need to get rid of these damn dad jokes. Sirens. But, yeah, this is getting more and more interesting. I do like this game, and I do have others, but I don't know if I'm going to want to play the others on stream or not. You can fail at what you don't want, so you might... Oh, Nightbot, get better advice, because you've repeated yourself a few times now. But yeah, so tomorrow will be Stardew, hopefully between... Whatever way, it'll start between 7 and 8. Just at some point then. Just literally depends on when I'm done set up and ready to start. And then hopefully we'll see more of choices, and then I've got other things lined up for next week. And then the week after that is Comic-Con weekend. And if I stream in that, that's gonna be... I have a plan for that one, but we will see how. I've got to set it all up first. So thank you for watching, thank you for being here and all that shit. And until tomorrow when we play Stardew, bye-bye.